Good afternoon, namaste to all dear learners. Welcome once again in NIUS live studio program. I Dr. Mahesh Singh, Professor, Plant Pathology, Tirthankar Mahavir University, Muradabad, Uttar Pradesh. Dear learners, today we will discuss a very important topic, that is eco-friendly disease management in vegetable. Dear learners, it is a very important topic for today's session. We will discuss in detail how we can manage eco-friendly so many diseases like bacterial, fungal, viral, nematodes, etc. So dear learners, we will study in details. So the objective for today's session is to understand eco-friendly and sustainable disease management in vegetables. And the second objective is to explain principles of integrated disease management, that is IDM. And the third objective is to identify major diseases as well as their eco-friendly control measures for that particular disease. And next is to apply biological, cultural, botanical approaches in disease control. And the next objective is to promote safe and sustainable practices for healthy vegetable production. Dear learners, the vegetables, it is a very important crops, you can say, for your diet. That is a protective foods because there are rich essential nutrients in vegetables like vitamins, minerals and dietary fibers. Like in vitamins, vitamin A, in carrot and tomato, and vitamin C in chili, cabbage, etc. And so many minerals contain vegetables like spinach, and calcium in beans, and dietary fibers that improves your digestive system and protect your body. And as well as the vegetables are economically important crops. It provide the higher returns per unit area, and it compared to the cereals and other crops like pulses, etc. And farmers can earn 2 to 3 times more income from a particular set of area by the vegetables, and the main important for the livelihood security, and especially for the small and marginal farmers. So dear learners, next important is the employment generation, because the vegetables cultivation involves the raising of nursery, transplanting, that interculture operations, harvesting and marketing as well. So the farmers can continuous getting the employment for the rural youth as well as women. And the national and global importance, India is the second largest producer of the vegetables in the world, and after China. And the vegetables contribute the significantly to the food and the nutritional security as well. And but there are some major challenges for vegetable productions, such as diseases, like due to the disease, yield loss can be 20% up to 80%. That depends upon the crops as well as the severity of the diseases. And the main things is the reduction of the quality, market value and the shelf life as well, so that the main factor of the disease cause the yield loss and production loss. Ultimately the complete loss may be due to the so many kinds of diseases. For examples, diseases like damping off, in fungal disease, damping off of seedlings, it caused by the Pythium, Rhizoctonia, Alternaria, etc. and the late blight of potato and tomato, like Phytophthora infestans, powdery mildew of cucurbits, etc. In bacterial, so many diseases like bacterial wilt of tomato caused by the Ralstonia, and black rot in cabbage, and Viral diseases like leaf curl of virus of chilies, tomato, cucumber mosaic virus, etc., that cause the severe loss in the field. And nematodes also create the so many losses in the vegetables, like root knot nematodes, the Melidogyne species, causing the root galls, and the yield may be decreased due to the nematodes also. And the main things is the conventional approach that depends on the chemicals. Earlier the farmers completely depends on the things like synthetic fertilizer, fungicide, bactericide, nematicide and insecticide as well. So the applied of high frequency nowadays also the farmers basically completely depend on the pesticide, and they have applied the high frequency every 5 to 6 days or in a week. They may apply the chemicals on the tomato, chilies, cucumber, etc., and the use of the higher than the recommended dose also. So the something they can also mixed with the indiscriminately use of the other chemicals also. So farmers prefer the chemical because they give the quick and visible result as soon as possible. So however this depends on the created multiple problems, and these problems are basically created due to the residuals effect on vegetables, because many vegetables like tomato, okra, brinjal, cucurbits are harvested frequently within the 3 or 4 days interval. So they can, if you want to consume freshly, then the you can't say ki it is a completely residues free of the pesticide. So spraying of the close to harvest leads to the pesticide residues on produce, and health hazardous, like it create the because it is a carcinogenic in nature, it hormonal imbalance, it create the hormonal imbalance, neurological problems and so many other things in your human body. And the environmental pollution also, it creates the means high rate of the chemicals can create the soil pollution. They kill the beneficial microbes, and it alters the soil pH, reduce the soil fertility, and water means runoff can causes the river, lake pollution, etc. They may kill the fishes as well as other aquatic animals also, and some microorganism may be killed due to the high toxic level of the pesticide. Air get also polluted, spraying of the drift pollution, atmospheric effect, non-targeted organism may also be killed. So it create the resistance development in the pathogen as well. So if you are continuously using the same group of pesticide, that can can create the pathogen develop resistance. For example, resistance in Phytophthora infestans that cause the late blight of potato, in tomato as well. And so for example, metalaxyl get resistance against these pathogens, and it results the farmer increases dose or shift to the stronger chemical rather than this. So it create the resistance also, and disturbance of the beneficial microorganisms. And because pesticide are non-selective, so it may kill the beneficial soil microbes also, like rhizobium, azotobacter, trichoderma, etc. It leads to the imbalance of the soil microbiological ecology, long term of decline of the soil fertility, and natural disease suppression may create, and the need of eco-friendly sustainable disease management. Dear learners, nowadays food safety that because consumers demand the chemical free and safe vegetables, so the environmental protection that prevents the pollution and degradation of the natural resources, sustainability that create the reduces over the dependence on the external chemicals imports, and soil health, it promotes the beneficial microbes, organic matter and biodiversity as well. And another is economical benefits. Its lower cost of the production in the long run, means less pesticide use. So the main things are the biological approach. Dear learners, how you can create or how you can go through the economically as well as the environmentally safe. So the biological approaches is good of one, because this is the means of using only living organism, that is the beneficial microbes, insect or other than the natural enemies that may control the plant diseases instead of the chemicals. For example, trichoderma, you know, very familiar with the trichoderma, pseudomonas. So trichoderma may apply to the soil or the through the seed treatment, and it fight the harmful fungi like damping of root rot, etc. So it is a very useful nowadays, and using very in popular in the vegetables as well as cereal pulses crop also. And next is the Pseudomonas fluorescens, a beneficial bacterium that protect the roots from the soil borne diseases, and Bacillus subtilis, it also prevent the leaf diseases by the forming a protective layer above the surface, and mycorrhizal fungi, it improve the nutrients uptake, and it make the plant stronger against the pathogen. And next is the cultural practices. You know, the cultural practices is also very important to minimize the disease severity in your main field as well as nursery condition also. The farming practices that reduce the disease risk by creating the unfavorable condition to the pathogen. For example, crop rotation, you are aware about the crop rotation to avoiding the growing of the same vegetables like tomato, brinjal are the same family of the crop in the same field every year. So year after year, that break the life cycle of the soil borne fungi like bacteria and nematodes also. And next is the field sanitation, removal and destruction of the diseased plants in the main field or infected plant debris as well as weeds to prevent the severity of the pathogens between the crop and seasons also, and proper spacing and plant density. You have to avoid overcrowding or the dense plantation in the area. So ensure the good air circulation also. So you may reduce the humidity and prevent the disease like powdery mildew, downy mildew and leaf spot also. And next is timely sowing of the timely sowing and planting. You have to sow the seeds at the right time to escape the peak periods of the disease infection. For example, early sowing of peas helps to avoid the powdery mildew in the field. And water management or irrigation practices, you have to avoid the water logged and over irrigation that may reduce the root and damping off, and prefer the drip irrigation because in sprinkler irrigation may also cause the spreading of the bacterial or fungal pathogens in the plant to plant, and you have to use resistant variety or tolerant varieties. You have to select vegetables which are basically tolerant or resistant against major diseases like bacterial wilt and bacterial wilt resistant tomato, and downy mildew resistant cucurbit should be there. And next is the soil solarization. Dear learners, soil solarization is a good practice to minimize the pathogen load in the soil. You have to cover or moist soil cover with the polythene sheet, it may be the plastic sheet basically, and the sheet during the summer condition that may kills the all soil borne pathogens, nematodes and weed seeds through the solar heat. And next is the intercropping or mixed cropping practices, growing of different crop together that reduce the spread of the host specific pathogen. For example, increasing the onion or garlic with the tomato that reduce the fungal diseases. And mulching, it is also very important practices, using the mulch to the straw leaf or other plastic mulches you can use to prevent the soil splashes, like spreading of the fungal spores. You have to conserve moisture as well as you have to reduce the weed host also. And next is the rogging, means uprooting and destruction of the diseased plant in the main field or in the nursery condition. For example, the virus infected chilies or cucurbits plants, you have to uproot properly and you have to dump it in area, means where the prevention can be spread, not spread to the healthy plants. And next is the weed management. Dear learners, the weeds are the act as a alternate host for the many pathogens. So you have to proper control of the weeds in your main field, like regular weeding. You have to reduce the chances of the disease carry over. And balance for dose of the nutritional fertilizers that may create the soil health management. And it avoid the excess nitrogen, because its excess dose of the nitrogenous fertilizer makes the plant more susceptible. You have to apply adequate organic manure and biofertilizers to improve the soil microbial balance. Dear learners, the next thing is the pruning and training. These all are the comes under the cultural practices, removal of the diseased or excess branches or leaves in your area, field area, to improve the proper air circulation, and it reduce the fungal infection in the crops like tomato and cucurbits. And seed treatments and healthy seed selection. Always use the disease free or certified seeds for the growing purpose and sowing purpose, and treat the seeds with the hot water or biocontrol agents or botanicals before the sowing. You have to adjust the planting site or the because choose the well drained soil to avoid the low laying or waterlogged area. You have to prevent root rots as well as the wilt diseases over there. So you have to avoid waterlogged area or where the logging condition may be there. So dear learners, these all are the cultural practices. And next is the botanical approaches. Dear learners, the botanical approaches means the using of the plant derived products like extracts of the plant leaves and powders as well as essentials oil also. It is a basically natural protectants against the plant diseases like bacterial diseases, fungal diseases and some viral diseases also. So you have to use the botanicals product. This is are basically eco-friendly, biodegradable and safer than the chemical pesticide also. So dear learners, the common botanicals products are used in the vegetables such as neem. You all are aware about the Azadirachta indica, that is neem, and these products are basically used as a neem oil, neem cake, neem leaf extract also. The action basically, and it is antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, and insect repellents also. So you have to use as an insect repellent, antibacterial or against antibacteria, against viral, against fungal also. So for examples, you may control the powdery mildew, leaf spot, wilts, as well as so many soil borne diseases in field. And next is the garlic extract. You all are aware about the garlic because garlic contain the allicin. It is a strong antimicrobial compound, and it affects against the fungal pathogens like fusarium, rhizoctonia, etc. And it also used in the combination with the neems also. And next is the turmeric extract or powder. You have to also use the active compound. The active compound in the turmeric is curcumin, and with the antifungal and antibacterial properties also. It prevents the damping of root rot and leaf blight also. And next is the onion extract. You dear learners, the onion extract means onion contain the basically sulfur containing compound that suppress the fungal growth, and it may be useful against the strong rots or basically storage rot and the foliar pathogen also. And next is the, you may also use the chili extract. Dear learners, it contains the capsaicin that inhibit the fungal spores, that reduces the bacterial and fungal infection in the vegetables. And so many essential oils, the distills plant oils also, and leguminous lemongrass oil. Dear learners, the strong having the lemongrass oil having the strong antifungal effect against the alternaria, coleotrichum, etc. And clove leaves, it also prevent the post harvest rot. And eucalyptus oil, it also protect against the powdery mildew and leaf blight. Dear learners, other plant extract you may also use like aloe vera extract. It having also the antimicrobial property, and it also improve the plant health. Dear learners, dhatura leaf extract like dhatura stramonium, it is also helpful to repel the insect and the fungal spores also. And ginger extract, it also suppress the fungal growth. So these are the so many botanicals which are very useful against the killing of the so many group of fungi, bacteria, and other nematodes also. Dear learners, these are the basically you know the advantages of the botanical approaches. Basically these are the eco-friendly and biodegradable in nature. It is very safe for the farmers, consumers, and the beneficial organisms as well. So the reduce the chemical pesticide use. If you are using the botanical extract and biocontrol agents, it helps to reduce the chemical pesticide uses. It helps the organic vegetable production as well. So you have to prefer the organic vegetables farming in basically the use of herbs, use of the biocontrol agents should be preferred. Dear learners, I am giving so many examples of the vegetables, their diseases, and how you can control the disease like eco-friendly management practices. First is early blight of potato. Dear learners, everyone knowing about the, I think you are aware about the early blight of potato. It is a fungal pathogens, it caused by the Alternaria solani, and it is a basically common diseases, and it destructive disease that affect the potato plants. Dear learners, early blight is a widespread disease and it can be found in about all potato growing region of the world, and it is particularly prevalent in the area where the warms and as well as humid climate is there, but it can also occurs in the cooler region. The disease can be found in North America, Europe, Asia and other potato producing area. Dear learners, it is a very the disease is very economically important because it creates the yield reduction of the yield due to the damage to the leaves, affecting the photosynthetic and overall collapse of the plant health. So it reduce the quality of the potato tubers, lower quality get the lower price in the market. So it is get the low price and increase the production cost also, because if you are using the high rate of the fungicide that control the raising expenses also, production expenses also. And storage problem. Dear learners, infected potatoes are more prone to storage disease, so it is the very cost effective, not cost effective. So you have to control the disease, or you have to know about the disease, how to control it. Dear learners, we will again meet in a very small break. Just wait for a few minutes. Thank you very much.
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े, वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो।
मित्रों हम उठे और जागे,
मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने,
ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत, कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, हम अपना जीवन स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, स्वयं बने, हम
Dear learners, welcome back in the session. We are studying taking with the examples of the potato, like early blight of potato. We had discussed recently that potato late blight and early blight means early blight of potato is caused by the fungal pathogens, and it is basically important disease because it caused the heavy loss in so many area, and because it is economically important, it reduce the quality, it increase the production cost, and it create also the storage problem, and it also impact on the food security. So dear learners, it is a very important disease. You have to know the symptoms of the Alternaria solani, because the Alternaria solani cause the basically on the potato as well as tomato also. So the symptoms of the early blight of the potato, it includes the circular dark brown lesions with the concentric ring on the lower leaves basically, and after some time it turns into the yellowish to the surrounding area, and wilting may be created, and if the severe cases is there, then it can affect the stem as well as tuber also. Dear learners, you have to see here the clear pictures of the early blight of the potato, how the leaves get affected by the pathogens. There is the concentric ring, and the tubers get also affected due to the early blight of the potato. Dear learners, the disease cycle, you have to know the infection, how infection start in the field. Basically the infected plant debris and the tubers can serve as a source of the overwintering for the pathogens, like pathogen, that is Alternaria solani, overwinters in the infected plant debris in the soil as well as in the well or volunteer plants also, and the infection of the spores can leads to the healthy potato plants and the initial infection, and the most common entry of the points where through the wounds are natural openings like stomata or hydrothodes also, and the disease development stage, the fungus began to grow within the plants, that causing the characteristic lesions on the leaves, and these lesions may produce the more spores which can be further disseminated to the nearby plants, and secondary spores that can be also be produced on the infected plants and spread to the other plants, leading to the secondary infection. This process can be continued throughout the growing season. So the secondary infection is very challenging in the field. This is the early blight disease cycle, how the pathogens can disseminate from the main field, means from the soil to the tuber to the main crops, and the how you can manage this type of the disease, dear learners, as I have discussed in earlier slides. To manage the effectively manage or eco-friendly manage like cultural practices, the managing the early blight of the potato, that involves a combination of the cultural, you may use the chemicals also, but it should be the last weapon, and the preventive measures that reduce the impact of the disease. Here are the some key management strategy for this particular disease, like crop rotation, as I have told you, that you have to avoid the planting potatoes in a same field or same location continuously year by year. It may reduce the build up the pathogens in the soil. So, and next is the sanitation. You have to remove, destroy the infected plant debris, including the volunteers over wintering source of the pathogens. And spacing, you have to maintain the proper spacing. It allows for the better air circulation, it reduces the humidity and the chances of the disease spread. And pruning, you have to prune the lower infected leaves to improve the air flow, or it reduce the disease pressure also. You have to avoid overhead irrigation, means use you have to use drip or furrow irrigation to keep the foliage dry, because if moisture is there on the leaves, it can promote the disease development. And next is the resistant potato variety. There are so many resistant variety available in the market. You have to select them, and because these are the less susceptible to the early blight, and the resistant variety can significantly reduce the disease incidence. And the fungicide, as I told you, it should be the last weapon, but you have to follow only the recommended dose of the fungicides, such as chlorothalonil, mancozeb, propiconazole, etc. But it should be only the recommended dose for the proper management of the disease. And next disease is late blight of potato. It is a very destructive disease of the potato and tomato vegetables. It caused by the pathogen, that is Phytophthora infestans. It is a plant disease with the global distribution. It thrives in the regions where the cool, wet or the temperate climatic condition is there, and it is the common area where the extended periods for the cool or moist weather occurs. And this disease is prevalent in the basically northern Europe, North America, and so many various other part of the world. And it is a very economically important, because late blight of potato disease has a significant economical impact due to the crop loss, and it reduce the yield, it increase the production cost, quality issues, as well as it reduce the market value as well. And at the severe infection, it may cause the more than 90% of the disease reduction. So dear learners, you can see the challenges and see the importance of this disease for the farmers. and the causal organism and symptoms for this disease is the causal organism, as you know, Phytophthora infestans, and the symptoms is very clearly identified by your naked eye in the field. The symptoms of the late blight of the potato includes the dark water soaked lesions on the leaves and stem with the characteristic yellow hollow at initial stage, but when the later stage the tube it may create the infection on the tubers also, and it includes the dark lesion and rotting of the potato flesh as well. And this disease is spread rapidly in cool wet condition, and it results on the plants as well as the tuber destruction. Dear learners, you have you can see the clearly photographs of the potato, late blight of potato, how late blight of potato can get destroyed by the Phytophthora infestans. The leaves may get damaged, and the stems as well as the tubers also get damaged by this disease. Dear learners, the disease cycles means how the pathogens spread from one continuous year, means 1 year to another year. The survival, first of all, the survival of the pathogen. Dear learners, the late blight of the pathogens overwinters in the infected potato tubers left in the ground are stored from the previous seasons, and the pathogens can also persist as a volunteer potato plants, which can which are the basically plants that grow from the mixed tubers in the field. And the primary infection get start from the sporangia are released into the air, and that can carried to the healthy potato plants, and under the suitable condition and such as cool and moist weather, and sporangia land on the potato foliage, and they can cause the primary infection. And the secondary infection can occurs when the sporangia produce on the infected leaves, and that can carry by the wind or by the rain splashes to the other potato plants. And next is the after the growing of the season infection, infected crop debris can and volunteer potato plants can be served as the source of the pathogens for the next season. So continuous disease cycles may happen, and the management, because the management is very challenging to the late blight of potato, because so many favorable conditions, if the favorable condition in the favor of the pathogens, then it is create the very challenge to manage the disease. So managing the late blight of the potato involves the combination of the cultural practices, preventive measures, and when the necessary you have to use the justified the fungicide application. So you have to plant the resistant variety first. So you have to grow potatoes, potato resistant variety against the late blight of the potato disease, that against the Phytophthora infestans. And next is the rotation of the crop is also important practices. So you have to use non-host crop plants that is the against the late blight, and so the reduce of the pathogens in the main field. You have to use the sanitation also, removal and destruction of the volunteer plants in the main field, means you have to plant the and grow the mixed tubers. You have to collect and identify the mixed tubers in the field, and you have to destroy them, and you have to crop the debris after harvest, and the helps to the elimination of the potential source of the pathogens. And you have to proper space, maintain the proper spacing and row to row and plant to plant distance should be maintained, because it create the more humidity, and because of the disease chances of the disease spread is there. And application of the fungicide, copper based fungicide should be advisable, but it should be the judicial use only, means recommended dose should be used only. And next is the potato scab disease. Dear learners, the scab potato disease is also one of the important or common disease in the potato or vegetables. So potato scab is the worldwide problem, and it can be found whether the potatoes are grown, and it is the prevalent in the regions where the alkaline soils are basically there, and as well as the area whether the varying soil moisture conditions are there. The specific species for bacterial responsible for the potato scab is vary by the regions, but the disease itself by the widespread. And economic important, dear learners, the economically important, this disease is economically important because it can reduce the market value of the crops. Growers may face the lower price for the scab infected potato. It can result the reduction of the profitability. It in the severe cases, the scab lesions penetrate the deeper into the fleshes also, so the complete tuber may lose. And the causal organism, the causal organism for this disease is Streptomyces scabies, and it is a bacterial disease. So the symptoms of the potato scab includes the raised or rough textures of the discolored lesions on the surface of the potato tubers, and these or this can be the range in the colors, and it may the affected potatoes less visually appears, and however the potato scab does not affect the taste or the basically taste or textures also, but it is cause overall the destruction of the potato. And disease cycle, dear learners, the pathogens of pathogenic bacteria can survive in the soil, and it extended period, often in the form of the spores or mycelium. They can persist even in the absence of the host plants also. And infection starts when the susceptible potato plants are grown in the infected soils. The pathogens can infect the tubers and roots lesion also. Often it occurs through the wounds or natural openings like hydatodes, or through the tuber surface also. Dear learners, the next release of the secondary inoculum, as infected tubers are harvested and it returns to the soil for the planting. They can release the bacterial inoculum such as spores, mycelium, and back into the soil, and these contamination of the soil becomes a potential source of the infection for the subsequent potato crops. Infection is more likely to occur when the environmental condition favor in the favor of the pathogen. Dear learners, how you can manage such kind of disease in your field? You have to start with the disease free seed potatoes, means you have to use the certified potato tubers, and because certified seeds potatoes are rigorously inspected and tested to ensure they are free from the scab or other pathogen. And you have to also rotate the crop strategy for the reduce of the buildup of the scab causing bacteria in the field. You have to avoid the planting potatoes in the same field or area where the means continuous year. So basically rotation of the non-host crops should be there, because it helps to minimize the load of pathogens. And text is you have to manage the moisture carefully, because it consists of the moisture level in the field. It helps to prevent the wounds and as well as on the tubers, and which are the entry points of the pathogens. You have to avoid the excessive irrigation which can leads to the wet conditions, and you have to avoid the high organic matter, high dose of the organic matter in the main field. Dear learners, seed cutting practices. If you are need to cut the seed potato into the smaller pieces before planting, it make the clean cuts. It should be the clean cuts, and it should be the treated with the surface with the fungicide, and use a bactericide dust also, and use of the post harvest handling. After the harvesting of the handled potato, you have to gently minimize the physical damage that can leads to the scab infection, and store potato in a cool, dry as well as ventilated place, and because it reduce the likelihood to the secondary infection. Dear learners, one of the most important nematode disease, you know, the cyst nematode in case of the potato, because the potato cyst nematode including it has been reported in the various parts of the world whether the potato has been cultivated. However, their distribution is not universal, but the potato is growing region, but this is the prevalence from the location to another location also, and it is also economically disease because it caused by the Globodera species, and it caused the significant economic importance due to the damage of the cause of the potato crop, and the infection can lead to the reduce the potato yield, lower quality of the tubers, increase production cost also. And dear learners, the main pathogen symptoms is this disease is basically the formation of the cyst nematode cause the stunted growth, reduced yield, not root damage, and the cyst wilting and yellowings of the potato plants. Severe infection leads to the cyst formation on the roots, and it reduces the tuber quality such as rusting, pitting on the tubers as well as rough surface also. It reduce overall the qualities such as rusting, pitting and rough surface, and this can reduce the marketability of the harvested potato. So it is very challenges to distribute in the market. So you can see here the photographs of the affected by the nematodes, and the disease cycle basically eggs and the cyst stages are there for in the life cycle. These cysts are often found in the soil. So when each cyst can be contain the hundreds of the eggs or more than that, so the eggs are the resistant to adverse environmental condition also. And after hatching with the coming of the favorable conditions such as adequate soil moisture, suitable temperature for the eggs, and eggs within the cyst hatch into the juvenile nematode. These juvenile nematode are basically little bit mobiles, and they can move through the soils to the search of the host plant also. And the root invasion means the once of the juvenile nematode find the suitable host plants, they penetrate to the roots and typically near the root tip. They use a stylate for that things, and they can feed the plant cells that can causing the damage to the root tissues, and development of the development and reproduction of the nematode. Basically they can nematode complete the several moltings over there. They have to develop inside the root tissues, and dear learners, you have to manage disease very easily, but you have to know or identify the symptoms first. You have to rotate the crops with the non-host crops like other crops for 2 to 3 years basically to reduce the nematode population in the soil. you have to suitable and rotation rotation of the crops, including grains, legumes or other non solanaceous crop especially, and use of resistant potato varieties. Grow resistant variety, potato resistant variety against the cyst nematode is preferable, and sanitation practices is also advised to the field, basically the during the post harvest prevention. And the clean seed potato, you have to use certified disease free and seed potato to ensure the seed potato you are planning to sowing it should be the free to the disease, and integrated pest management should be advisable. Dear learners, integrated management practices should be advisable to prevent the such kind of nematode disease or so many other diseases, to the combination of the various strategy for the managing the nematode effectively. Dear learners, I think this is very effective sessions for you, and you get the so many knowledge of how vegetables can be grow very effectively and very means economical eco-friendly things. So thank you very much to our dear learners for precious listening. Thank you very much.